Yep. Last session we we discussed various text effects, the text attributes. Actually, one more important is in the earlier options, mean with text effects and Z index. One more option is we used to have a concept called text orientation, and text direction. Actually, those options are not used anymore. So we use only few things. We use 2D and 3D. Suppose I want to rotate text 60 degree, 30 degree, 50 degrees. Then for that we use 2D effects, 3D effects and define them. Actually, we have one more option, that means Z index. One more is text direction. Direction, or we call it as orientation. Actually, suppose we have some text in a div. Container. Okay. So we are keeping a div. Suppose we return some welcome, and div have width and height as 2 pixels solid red something. Now we are displaying the div here in this way. Now we have the font size as some 40 pixel. It will display in this way. We have option like text orientation. Text orientation I given here as sideways. Sideways, it is not having any effect. Actually, text orientation we have like upright. You see, it's not having any effect. This actually, that means we have upright or other options like sideways. Usually how to use a left
Recording
to
in
right.
progress.
Then you see there is no change here. So we have sideways, or we have like writing mode, we have vertical. So that now you see it have some change. We can use vertical left right, we can use right left. That means it will be in this way. We have certain options, we have to use combination. Writing mode, we have to use combination. So technically everywhere, all these will not work everywhere. We have to use combinations. For example, I written here upright, and here writing mode I given as suppose sideways, left right, like this we define. There is no effect. So combination you need to keep correct. That means if you give text orientation sideways, after giving the text orientation sideways, you have to use writing mode sideways. Then it will display writing mode sideways. What we have? Another option here we are having sideways, vertical, right, left, right. We have to define in this way. These need to have this kind of combination. That is the reason we are not using them anymore. Without that, we can rotate in any direction we want. 90 degrees, 60 degree. For that, we need 2D and 3D. So as of now, just know about it, but no need of using this. We will use more other options like text direction is nothing but changes the orientation of text in container. For that, what we have an attribute called text orientation. Text orientation, we have writing mode. These two things we have to define. Just roughly one example I will give here. This is an example for that. But majority of work is done by using others. What are those? We will see now. So in CSS, now we need to understand about CSS 2D. This is important. How to apply and configure 2D. Actually, 2D means 2D is two dimensional. Two-dimensional effects. Two-dimensional effects. Two-dimensional effects means along x and y axis. Along x and y axis, we call two dimension. By using this 2D, CSS 2D, what we can do is it allows to change position, size, and orientation of text. It allows to change position, size, and orientation of text. We can do that by using 2D. Actually, so we have to use transform. We have to use transform attribute for 2D, and 3D also. But initially we are using 2D. We have to use this transform attribute for 2D. But one problem is that 2D, 3D like effects will not work on every browser. Browser dependency issues are there. That means transform attribute have browser dependency issues. Hence, we have to use with the help of browser plugins. How to use browser plugins? Actually, transform and transform is enough. We can put any effect, we can write any effects, but this is not recognized on every browser. That's the reason we have to write like this: WebKit transform. WebKit transform, this is for browsers like Chrome, the browser like Safari, the browser like uh, Edge. All these uses WebKit. So we have to use the plugins like MOZ transform. This is for Firefox. This is like Firefox, MOZ transform. We have to write O transform. This is for Opera. But actually now Opera is available with WebKit also. Opera. So we don't need to write O very much. We have MS transform. MS transform, it is for Internet Explorer. So actually one transform is enough, but we don't know which browser they will use. That is the reason One effect we have to write 4 or 5 times. There is no other chance, because if you don't write so many times, some browsers can't recognize them. Several CSS effects, because actually 2D transform means some animations are added. Those animations cannot run directly. To run animations, you need some special plugins. And these are the plugins we need for different browsers. So if when you are practicing, you can directly practice this. But when you are writing for real time, for every effect, you have to write all this. Because we don't know which browser they will use, we have to write for everything. Now, what are the various 2D transforms? That means, so CSS 2D transforms are, we have translate, we have scale, we have rotate, and we have skew. This comes under transforms. We have another option called matrix. We have matrix also. So 2D related transforms, we have translate, scale, rotate, skew, and matrix. What is translate, scale? We will see. Actually, here, first important, I will give here CSS translate. Translate is actually, it is used to change the position of element in page. Change the position of element in page. That means you can move element along X and Y axis. Along X and Y axis. Actually, for that we have translate method. If I give some value 200 pixel, that means it will give both directions. That means X 200 and Y 200. Actually, we can use translate. So we can write translate 200 pixel and 300 pixel. This is X and Y. Or you can write like this, translate X 200. This is only X axis. You can write translate Y 300 pixels. This is only Y. You can move in any direction. You can use in any direction, X, Y, both options. For example, see now how to write these effects. I will give here one picture. Suppose I am adding an image source and public images, some backpack jacket. Okay. For this image, width 100 and height 100. And you see here, the image is displayed like this. We have image here. Now what I am doing is here, that is image. I have image. Image on hover. We know already hover. When mouse is over, then translate. Translate, I given as 200 pixels and 450 pixels. That means you see now, when I move mouse onto it, it will come there. You can see. But actually, it is coming there. But actually, what is happening is, we have no time to see that. It is immediately coming back. So what we do is, we can write like this. Suppose I don't want both directions. I can write only one. Suppose I given here 200 pixels, that means it will be like this. This is only x-axis. X-axis it is rotating. Now if you want both, we can give both, right? X and y, or you can write like this, only translate y. That means it will give like this. It will give like this. But very important is how much time it is changing, taking to change it. It is within a second it is changing. So if you want to control the time, we have to use transition. You can control the transform time by using transition by using transition. Later we will learn other options about transition. Actually, transform time we can control with transition. Here, see what I am doing. Actually, this is changing to 200 pixel or 400 pixel, and it is changing to 400 pixel. But we want some time. Then we can add transition as 3 seconds. That means it will take 3 seconds. It will take 3 seconds to go there. When I remove the mouse, then it will immediately come back. But I want to come back also sometime. Then we have to use like this. Normal image, transition how much? 2 seconds. So, or I will give 5 seconds to go and 2 seconds to come. Then we use mouse, it will go slowly there. And when I remove the mouse from there, then it will come back little faster. We can control that by using transition. So transition is used for changing the time interval. So here, this is translate. We have translate X, we have translate Y, or we have translate both. Suppose I said translate 200 pixels and 200 pixels. That means it will move in this direction slowly. And I remove from there, then it will come back normal. Right? You can move in any specific direction. That is what actually the purpose of translate. So translate is used for changing the position, change the position of element. That is translate. So example I will give here. This is an example for translate. Now another important scale. We have scale. The scale option, actually the purpose of scale, it is used to change the size of element. Scale is used to change the size of element. That means it uses the width and height. Actually, it uses the value 1, which is equal to 100. 1 is equal to 100. That means 100 value. Actually, see now, I will do one thing. For this image, I will keep a div, and in that I will keep container, class container. I will write here dot container display as flex, justify content center, align items, center height as 500 pixels, then it will be in the center. Now what I am doing is transform. I am changing into scale now. Scale also have these options like we have scale. Scale, it is all directions. That means it is width and height. We can use scale X. This is only for width. We can use scale Y. This is only for height. This is width and this is height. So I given here scale when mouse is over. I given scale as 2. And you see now when I move the mouse, it will be increasing the size and it will be reducing the size. So if I give the size 3, that means it will increase more size, 300 pixels. And it will get into that, it will display. I'm keeping it in center. I'm defining center. Remember, you cannot apply both effects. Multiple effects cannot be applied. To apply multiple effects, we have to create some other combinations. That means, suppose I want to move and zoom. No, it can't work. For that, we have to write effects. That means only one will work. Suppose here I am writing scale, and after that, I am writing transform. Transform. What is it? Translate. Translate 200 pixels I am writing. You can see translate working. Zoom is not working. That means only one will work. The latest one will work. And actually, I am writing only one transform. Generally, how people have to write to work on every browser, they have to write like this. WebKit, WebKit transform scale is 3. Similarly, they have to write Mozilla transform scale is 3 like this. For some browsers, they can use a different scale also if they want. That works on that particular browser. So, but when you are practicing on one browser, you don't need to write all this. Right? Only one option is enough. One option is enough. So the scale is used to adjust the size, and translate is used for changing the location. So you have the options scale, scale X, scale Y. Suppose I am giving scale X, then what will happen? Only width will increase. Only width will increase for it, right? I am using scale Y. That means only height will increase. Only height will increase. So we want both, then we can use scale. That means it will increase both height and width. Right? And see, I am writing suppose 2, 3 like this. That means it is using different now. Width is different, height is different. We can add different. If you give only one value for width and height, it will use same. You can write different value. That means width is 2, height is 3. Width and height you can configure. That means this is for width and height. And this is for width. This is for height. So example I will give here. This is example for that. So in transform, we have two things. One is translate, another one is scale. Another option we have rotate. Rotate. Actually, it is used to, it rotates element by specified angle. Angle. That means, so you can put as, so that means value in degrees. We have to use value in degree. And you can give, that means you can give negative value, negative angle actually, negative angle for counterclockwise. For counterclockwise means anti-clockwise. Then you can use negative angle. For example, see here, I will give here instead of scale, this time same options. We have options like rotate, we have rotate X, and we have rotate Y, like this. So this is having an option like rotate. Rotate 180 degree. We have to use DEG, degrees. 180 degree rotate, and you can see it rotates like this. That is 180 degree rotating, right? And I am using minus 180 degree, then it will be counterclockwise. It will be counterclockwise rotating. So you can rotate some 60 degree, 60 degree, right? And it is, I'll give just 2 seconds, and it will be rotating in 60 degree. I can do that. You can apply for anything, text, pictures, anywhere you can define this. So this is basically rotate. And if I say rotate X, that means only one direction. You see it rotates X axis, it will be in this way. Suppose I will give image, so width is 200 and height as 200, then picture will have little height width. You see it will be X axis like this. And for example, I am defining as 180 degree, 180 degree X axis, then it will be in this way. It will be in this way. So you can rotate in this way. Suppose I am using rotate Y. Rotate Y means it will be in this way. So the rotate X axis and rotate Y axis, we can define both. Along X and Y axis, it can rotate like this. So I can give like 360 degree, and it will rotate in this way, 360 degree. That is basically how we can use the rotate options. Rotate options. So this is an example for rotate. Another important, we have skew. Skew. Skew is used for, actually, technically skew is used for, we have skew option. It is for tilting. It is used to tilt image, tilt element by specified angle. Specified angle you can tilt that image or element. So it also have same options. So we have skew, we have like skew X, we have like skew Y. Skew Y, right? So here you have options. You see now, instead of rotate, I am giving skew. Skew by 60 degree. Skew means, you see, I will give some 300 width, 400 height. You see image looks like this, and tilting it will be like this. That is skew. Skew is tilting the image. Tilting the image. We can tilt the image by specified degrees. I can give it minus 60 degree. That means it will tilt in opposite direction. That's skew. And you can define skew X. That means it will tilt only one direction like this. I said skew Y, right? And it will display in this direction. That means it will tilt in that direction. We can change the tilting of image and display that image there. That you can manage by using skew. So that depends on how you want to use. You can apply all these effects. So transform contains all these options. We have translate, we have scale, right? We have translate, we have scale, we have rotate, we have skew, and these, out of all these, only one will work. Already I told you very clearly, both will not work, right? Any one will work. But if you want multiple to handle, for that you have to create your own. You have to create your own. So matrix is there, but it is also limited. Matrix can apply multiple, but limited. This is also limited. Why? Because actually matrix, what it can do is, so matrix, what it can do is, can apply multiple transforms, but no rotate. There is no rotate. It can apply multiple transforms, but no rotate. Actually, matrix uses, first we have scale x. After scale x, what it will do is, it will use q. It will use qy. After that, it will use qx. After qx, it will use scale y. Scale y. After scale y, it will use translate. Translate x. It will use translate y. Translate y. Like this, it will apply the effects. So that is the reason we don't have rotate option here. We don't have rotate. And the order is also very different. That means first value will be scale, second value will be skew, third value will be skew, fourth value will be again scale x, translate x and translate y. For example, see here, suppose I'm giving here matrix. I'm giving matrix. Actually, in matrix, what we can define here, you see, generally matrix value, you see in the code here, actually, this is the matrix values. Matrix values. So technically, matrix values are defined in this way. So values are defined in this way. You see, there is a matrix value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values are there. Combination, we don't have other features. So we don't have other features for them. What are the options available? We'll see what is his issue. Yes, Mrityunjay Kumar, what is your problem?
I'm not seeing your display, sir. A screen. I'm not seeing your screen.
You are not able to see the screen. Others are able to
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
Once
yeah.
you log out and log in, check once your side. You check your side problem, okay?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Now you see here, suppose I am using matrix here, define the matrix and effect here now. So in matrix, what are the options? I will remove this container effect. I will remove that container. Okay, remove the container and we just have this image. We have just the image and width and height I will give as 100 and 100. Okay, that is normal available here. Now see in the matrix, we are giving the value. So I'm giving as some 2. After that, I given 0, 0, then 2, then 0, 0. 6 values I am defined. So you see here, that is matrix. That means when image is over, it will display like this. What is working? What is working here? What is the first one? Scale X. After that, scale Y is here. Right? First value is scale X. This value is scale Y. In between, what we have? Skew. And what is this? I will put here as suppose that is translate. I am giving 100. That means you can see it will be like this. It will move 100. Right? That means here I am giving 200, 200. That means it will be displayed like this. Right? It will be displayed like this. Now both are working. Translate is working and zoom is working. translate and zoom is working. That means it is going to handle both, right? So that is the concept, how it is going to handle. Now what about this? That is skew. Suppose I am giving value like 2 or 2 skew like options, there is nothing. Why? Because actually this skew is what? 0 0 I defined. Suppose skew is suppose 20 I am giving, right? What is that skew 20? You see that rotates in this way, right? That means it is tilting the image and displaying. Suppose I given only 2 here, you see it will be like this. That means the degrees and everything we have to give in general number. 20 means 2, 60 means 6. You have to give in this way. That means we can apply the multiple effects. Suppose I said -2 like this, then it will be in this way. So it can display in this way. I will use -2, it will be in this way. Now suppose I am giving here 2, that means now it will be in this way, right? That means it is rotating and displaying the content. You can use this for any kind of content, right? This is the combination. We are changing the position, we are changing the size, we are able to skew. But skew is working as rotate na here. Skew is actually working as rotate. That is the reason you don't have rotate here. That means in matrix there is no rotate option. You will have only scale x, skew y, skew x. You have scale y and translate x and translate y. There is no rotate option available. And very important is values can be in you can configure in integer or fraction. Integer or fraction. That means you can say 1 is equal to 100, or you can give 1.5. It is equal to 150, like that. You can give the values in that way. You can give in fraction. That means 2 is equal to, you can keep it as 20 degree. Right? We can give that. If it is given in skew place, otherwise it will be 200. If it is given in width place or translate place also, it will be 200. 200. That means this is degree for which option? Skew. And 2 will be 200. It will be for 200 for which option? It will be 200 for translate. Translate, it will be for scale. Scale. That's how it is going to manage the matrix. So example for this is this, how we can handle. This is an example. So this is example for that, right? Now that is how we can handle and display the matrix. These are all 2D effects, two-dimensional effect. Now we have another important is we can use CSS 3D effects. Actually 3D is 3 dimensions. 3 dimensions. That means we have x-axis, we have y-axis and z. But remember, this 3D can be visible cleanly when you design in that way. If you don't design, you will not see any difference between 3D and normal. It looks normal. It will not show any difference. It will not show any difference. It looks normal. So 3D, 3 dimensions. That means you can transform in 3 dimensions using same options. You have same options. We have translate 3D. Translate 3D you can use, or you can use translate X. We can use translate Y, or you can also use translate Z. right? The same option you have for scale 3D. You have the same option for rotate 3D. You have the same option for skew 3D. And you have the same option for matrix 3D. All are same. Only one point is extra one axis will come. That makes it looks like 3D, but really it will not work like 3D until or unless you design it like that. Right? Don't think that 3D will work just by using 3D. You will not see any difference. You will not see any difference until or unless you design it correctly. Actually, third dimension means what? So suppose we have the x-axis and we have the y-axis. Along the x-axis, y-axis, we have a box. Now, to make it look like third dimension, there will be a z-axis also here. That means actually it can be along z-axis also we can display like this. If I make it display along z-axis, that means this will look like a 3D box. It will look like a 3D box. And this angle that it has to use, that will be, this is actually z. That is actually z axis. We have x, y, and z. And to design that, you need to have correct content. If you don't have correct content, appearance cannot be like 3D, right? We have to work with lot of combinations. For example, let's see. Suppose I will take here this container. I will use div, and again I will put here a class container, and for that I will give add container display flex. So justify content center, align items center, height as some 500 pixels. Like this we are defining. We are configuring and specifying like this. Now I will remove this now. On hover I will remove. Actually it is here. Now what we are doing is, for example, we are giving transition, transform. Transform I will use here as a scale 3D. Scale 3D. I am using scale 3D. And here I am giving some 2 or 3. You see here, now when I put it here, you see it looks nothing. Because this is x-axis, okay? This is x-axis. Another one, y-axis. Y-axis is 2. That means x and y-axis are there. What about another one, z-axis? Z-axis is also 2, like this I define. Now you see it looks normal. There is nothing like special. It looks like normal 2D only. That means actually you give here, suppose 1, that means z-axis is like this. It doesn't look any different. So that is what I said. 3D, 2D looks similar, but how you design combination will keep it appearance too. That means actually you see generally they say 3D movie. Right? A 3D movie you can watch on a normal TV. It looks normal. For that you need a 3D glasses. So if you watch normal, it will look little blurred. Right? You use 3D glasses, then it will look like 3D. The same thing here. That means you put these effects, it will not look like 3D. Right? For example, see now, I will copy this image in a box. I will keep this in a div. And I will give this ID as box. Okay. For this box, I'm giving, you see here, I'm giving box. For box, I'm giving width. So width is, suppose 130 pixel, height also 130 pixel. And for that box I am giving border as 2 pixel solid, some black. So like this I am defining, I am configuring, right? And idea, yeah, I will change it to class. Okay, we are using the class, right? Yeah. Now we are configuring that 130 130 border is there. Inside that we have picture. Inside that box we have picture. Now what we are doing here is, for this image, actually this is image. Image also have some 120 120, means width and height little bit near to it. Okay. And let's keep this box have little padding. Padding as 3 pixel, some space will come here. Okay, 3 pixels, some space is here. And what I am doing here, scale. Scale, I will give z-axis as 2, x and y as 1, 1. I'm giving like this. That means it will be normal, 100%. Okay. And this I will give 2. That means it will be like this. Right? That is the y height. This is 1. I will give this. And this is what width, right? I'm adjusting the width and height. And you see here, I'm adjusting both width and height. So, and it looks like this. And observe carefully, I will use this image with image. Image I will give on hover, image will have box shadow. I'm using box shadow. Box shadow, I will give 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 2 pixel, some gray. That is the box shadow for that. Now you see when I move the mouse here, the shadow will come. Now you see the box, that shadow is coming. And suppose I can move this little bit left. That means image on hover, I will give margin left as minus 20 pixel. That means it will move left side minus 20 pixel little bit. You can see here it is moving little bit now. Now what we will do is, we will not give this much height, little more height we will increase. Let's keep the height 150 150. And you see, okay, and little bit border also we will keep for the image. That means for image we are using border 2 pixel solid black. And now you see image have border, and you see it looks like it is coming out of that box. And I will give more shadow, box shadow. How much? Vertical shadow, horizontal, vertical. Vertical shadow I will give as 20 pixel vertical shadow. Now you see it looks like this. That means you see it looks like this. That means it looks like it comes out of the box in a 3 dimension. I am using more actually. I will use 1.2. So I am using 1.2. 1.2 means it will keep little slightly. You see now 3D like effect will come. That means now you see it looks like it comes out of that screen. It comes out of the screen and it displays there. It displays there. Suppose box shadow, here also I will give 20 pixel box shadow. And you see it looks like this now. That means it looks like it is coming out of that box. Coming out of that box. That means it can feel like a 3D now. Like previously also it is having 3D. But it is working. But now it looks better like a 3D. That means it looks like text is coming out. Text is coming out. That means, for example, see here, this I given for this box here and content here. I will do one thing. I will copy that and I will paste 2 3 images I am pasting. jacket, some shoe, and here shoe one, right? Some we have neckband, okay? Like this, so many images are present here. Now you see when I move the mouse onto it, they come like this. It looks like 3D. It looks like 3D. It looks like 3D. That means for every box I will give here, so margin right as 30 pixel, and I can keep little gap here. You can see these all the 3D like content displayed there, right? These kind of effects you can achieve only by using the combination of 3 dimensions. Remember, if you keep 3D without such combinations, you will not feel like it is working. That's a lot of work I have done here. It's not only one. That means I made it to show like come out of the box. I kept a border, I kept a shadow, I made sure that shadow correctly cast horizontally, vertically. And to see that, we kept a background box that shows that it comes out. For example, this box is having background color, some light gray. Light gray is the background color for that box. Then you see it looks like this. That means it looks like it is coming out of that and it is displayed. And sometimes what we do is behind the background, instead of using color, we use background image, and we keep that background image transparent. That means background image URL, I'm just using some public in that images. In that, suppose I'm using some card one. Suppose I'm using some card one. For all of them, it looks like this. Actually, for everyone, you can put different. Now you see, it looks like this. It comes out of that and it will display. And the background images, actually, what we do is the box. That means transparency. We give opacity. Opacity 0.5 or 7. That means they look transparent. The box looks transparent. On mouse over, what we do is on mouse over. So here we kept opacity as 1. That means on mouse over, transparency should be normal. And it will be normal. It can display like that. So it depends on how you want to configure. But these are all additional, not required. As of now, you can just try one option. So you don't need all this. Just you can keep this. And you can see this is how the transparent 3D works. And remember, I have used 3D only scale. 3D scale. Like this, you can try others now. No need to explain others, right? That means similarly what you do, you try translate, you try rotate, you try skew. For example, see, I am giving here, what is it? We are using skew. So skew, what is it? Skew, I will say rotate. Rotate 3D I am giving. Rotate 3D means we have 3 angles we have to define now, right? You see, currently rotate is not there. Nothing is rotating here. You see, normal is there. That means I need to keep it rotate 3D. 3D here we need angle. That means, for example, 0. Suppose this is 0. This is like degrees. I given as some 20 degree. Like this I am giving. That means you see here. So it will see it is showing in this way. There is no degree rotation here. There is no degree rotation here. So you see what we are giving. So transform, rotate. But rotate is not defined. Suppose I will give 20 degree everywhere. I am using 20 degree everywhere. I'm using 20-degree to rotate that. You can see it is showing the size. That means not rotating it actually. So the point here is, the concept here is, you see, when you keep all these images and we kept transform rotate 3D, this degree value, suppose I am giving without degree normal 20 degrees I am defining. Actually rotate 3D, you see same effect, nothing change. Why? Because when you are using rotate 3D, see rotate 3D, here we have to define the angle. Suppose I given the angle as 60 degree. I'm using just 60-degree rotate 3D. That means you see same. That means actually the question here is why it is not rotating. Actually it is rotate, but our containers are not enough to show that rotate. Here when you design a container, when you design the contents in container, they should suit. That means this rotate is okay, fine. But the problem with rotate here is it is not able to rotate and display because of the container you are having and because of the margins you are configuring. Suppose that is what I said, we need combinations. So many combinations are required. You see now only the shadow is casting here. You see only the shadow is casting here. Only the shadow is displayed here. That means only the shadow can show and display the content here. Actually, all these things need to work with combination. Just like I showed you 2D combination how to work 3D. Similarly, we have to use the matrix 3D combination, scale 3D combination, and rotate 3D combinations we have to use. I will post some examples. You try them. Right? I am giving one example. I will give some examples. You try them. That means combination of various examples with rotate and other options. I will upload one document. You try. So as of now, these are the options for 3D. What is difference? 3D contains a third dimension, but those third dimensions will not work until or unless you use a correct combination. If you miss the combinations, they are not going to work. Right? You have to correctly use the combination. Those examples I will upload. You try them. Because we should not waste time in these effects, because these are okay, but in UI development we have a lot of other things to do than these effects. We can't waste time in this. This is okay, certain examples we can try, but cannot waste time on this. But you should know that these are 3D and other options. Okay, but still not satisfied with the effects. That is the reason now we need to use a concept called, here we have to use an option called keyframes. Keyframes. This is very important because we given 2D, we given 3D, but still not satisfied because combinations are not correct. That means we don't want like that. We want in a different way. In a different way. I will show you that. For example, before going into keyframes, you have to know CSS animation attributes. Actually, CSS transition attributes. You have to know transition attributes, animation attributes. Then you have to know keyframes combination. See, transition attributes, actually you have seen transition, but actually we have transition duration. You have transition delay. We have transition animation function, transition animation function, transition timing function, actually transition timing function. transition duration, transition delay, transition timing function. Actually, all these are important while you are giving transition. While you are giving transition. See, I will give one example. A lot of things we designed here, I will remove all. Just I will keep one image, rest of them clean. Okay, now here we just keep a div container and display flex, justify content center, align item center and height as 500 pixels. Now observe carefully here. What we want to do is, suppose we want to put some animation for that image. That means I am giving image hover, we given transform scale as some 3. Okay, now what we done is on mouse over it will be right. Image hover transform scale will be 3. Okay, so we are giving the transform scale 3. It will be like this. Now, how much time it is taking? Immediate. What we have to do actually, I showed you transition, but actually we have transition time, transition duration. Duration I given 3 seconds. Okay. That means it will take 3 seconds to come. And again back it will be immediate. Another option is we have transition delay. Transition delay means actually animation starts immediate, but it should not start immediate. It should wait for some time and start, because already some animation may be working. We have to wait, right? That means you see now, I will give here this also 3 seconds. Then what happens is when I move the mouse onto it, immediately it will not work. After 3 seconds, it will start. That means we don't want animation to happen immediately, because generally what happens, you move the mouse from one place to another, in between it may touch others. When it is touching others, then it will start animation immediately. We should not do that. We should make it wait for some time, then start. That means immediately effect should not work. It should wait for some time, then it should start. Then we can do that by using what? Delay. So transition duration and transition delay. One more important is here, actually we have transition property. We have transition property. I will give you a good example to understand it. Transition property means, let's see a good example for this. So here I will create a div and let's keep that ID as class as box. Okay, for this box I am giving width 100. Okay, height 100. Okay, background color as red. Okay, now when mouse is hover, box hover, when mouse is hover, what I want here is we want width to be 800 pixels. On mouse over, width should be 800 pixels. Background color should be yellow. And here what I am doing is I am giving transition duration 5 seconds. That means it will take 5 seconds to change from red to yellow. Not only changing duration 5 seconds, red to yellow, not only that, background also changes, width also changes. I will give here again transition duration as 2 seconds. Okay, now you see here, when I move mouse onto it, it will take 5 seconds. And see, in these 5 seconds, what are affecting? In these 5 seconds, two properties are affecting. One is width, another one is color. See, it is not changing the color immediately. It is changing slowly red to yellow. But I don't want the color to use this duration. I don't want color to use this timing. I want only width to use the timing. Then what we have to do is, here we have to write transition property. Transition property. We have to write width. If you want width, height, you can put comma and you can write. I want only width. What does that means? It means that this timing will work only for width, not for others. That means now see what will happen when I move mouse. Immediately it will change to yellow. Then it will increase the width. That means now timing is not working for background color. Timing is working only for width. I remove that. Now slowly it will come back. Why? Because here we are not using property. Here we are using property on only hover. That means for which property timing should work? It should work for all or only width or only color you can set, or multiple you can define. That is actually transition property. Transition property. That is basically how you give transition property delay and duration. So what is duration? Total time interval. What is delay? Delay means start time. Start time, right? And what is property? The properties to use transition. Transition. Which property to use transition? Transition. So that you have to tell. Timing functions are nothing but these are ready-made functions. Ready-made functions means ready-made animations. Animations. Ready-made animation means, for example, I hope you know PowerPoint. In PowerPoint, suppose I typed welcome. I want to put animation for it. Then you don't need to write animation. What you can do, ready-made effects will be there. You see animations and you see transition is there. You see the word transition comes from this concept only. Transition speed, transition sound. Now what we do is actually we put custom animation and we select add effect entrance. That means some fly in, it will come like this. What is meant by fly in? From bottom, it will come to center. That means it's a ready-made effect. Like that, in CSS also ready-made effects are there. In CSS also ready-made effects are there. If you want to apply such ready-made effects, you can use here. I will use here transition timing function. Transition timing function. See, ready-made, so many effects are there. I'm using one effect called ease in. I'm using an effect called ease in. Transition property I will remove. I'm using only ease in. Observe carefully. What happened? Nothing happened. Huh? Haven't you noticed anything? In ease in. Ease in means it starts the animation slowly and towards the end speed increases. Understood? For example, I will give it 2 seconds. Now you see animation starts slowly and speed increases at the end. That is ease in effect. Right? You can see better. You can see here. I will give steps. Steps as some 10. And see now, I will give here in 10 steps, it will increase. It will be normal. And in normal, what I will do here, transition, timing function, I will give as steps. Steps, I will give 5. And I will take 5 seconds for it. Then you see now it will go 10 steps increasing and it will come back in 5 steps slow. That is how we can give the effects. These are ready-made effects. We call them as timing functions. By using these timing functions, you can apply ready-made effects and define them. But still not satisfied because we want our own. I want from bottom corner to come to center. From center again go to right side top corner. From there again come to center, zoom and zoom out. It's such own effects we can create by using a concept called keyframes. We have to use keyframes. By using this, we can create our own animations that we'll see tomorrow how to use these keyframes. First, you try these examples. I will give you some examples tomorrow. Because first you try these properties, then you can try some examples. I will give some examples tomorrow so that you can practice those examples. Right after keyframes, we can go that. Tomorrow we will continue with it. Right.